Well, good morning my fellow Driftomaniacs, it's Rich here, and this is my Traxxas UDR servo upgrade. And it's needed because finally, but inevitably, the existing servo on the Traxxas Unlimited Desert Racer has said goodbye. It was driving in a straight line, went to steer, and just nothing. The servo has gone completely dead kaput. New one on the way from Traxxas, but in the meantime, I'm going to fit this 20 kilo servo as an upgrade on it, which this is metal geared and waterproof. Yours for just under 18 bucks. You can also fit the same one if you go on the e-revo. I did a video on that short while ago. Link to this below the video if you need one. And these were on Amazon this week at a bargain $4.50, and predictably they're sold out, but hopefully, fingers crossed, by this time they should be back online again. So anyway, let's see what's involved in the Traxxas UDR servo upgrade.
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to undo all of the bodywork that's below, and one of you guys did point out to me the other day that the anti-roll bar had indeed come loose, and you were right when I checked, it has indeed come loose, but thankfully it's just pulled out and looks to just screw back on, so fingers crossed that's a freebie one, unlike the servo. Okay, well, first things first, to get the bodywork off, I'm using my cordless screwdriver with the hex bit in, makes the job much faster. Okay, a couple of minutes work there with the thing, and the bodywork comes off, it says, in the entirety, but it's still attached to the front bumper, so I'm going to have to figure out what I need to do there. Okay. Well, upon first glance the body does appear stuck on, but it's not. Don't go unscrewing anything down in here, no sir. That's because if you follow the Traxxas guide, a bit of wiggling and jiggling, the body will come off of those mounts. I've got the front, I did the top one first, then the bottom one, and the body is completely off. Nice easy job, but without knowing that, it could be quite frustrating. You might be tempted to undo some of the screws, but it's simply slide the body off over that top one first, remove that, get that clear, then the bottom one, much easier. Well, that's my first look at the car actually, with the whole body off. I looked at the rear before when tilting the body up. We've got our receiver in there, and I'm guessing maybe in here we've got our servo. So I'm going to look online, have a consult the manual and find out exactly where the servo is hidden in there. As I decided before I got on with hunting that servo down, there's some new fluorine packs that will actually fit in there side by side, giving it easy feed through on the cables. Very neat. Linked in below the video if you need them. Quick look online tells me there's an easy way and a hard way to do this. The hard way is to remove all the driver, all this stuff, etc. No need to do that at all. All you need access from this side is to remove the receiver cover and that little waterproofing plate on there, so that you can fit the remove the existing servo lead and plug the new one in there. That's all you need to do on this side. So you just got to take the body off and remove that servo cover. On the underside, however, slightly bigger job. You need to remove this base plate in order to get access to the servo. It's got various screws around the bottom on here, so I'm going to use the hex driver, remove those, and that should give me access to the servo. Okay, once again, I'm going to use my cordless drill for ease of access and speed of getting things off. Make life far faster when I'm doing a plate like this. Anyway, I'm not going to waste your time with that. I'm going to unscrew them all, then remove the thing. Okay, how do you know you've removed them all? Well, there are 8 screws holding that base plate on, so when you've removed 8, the thing should just pull loose like that, giving us access to the servo. When I asked the guy from Traxxas on the phone, is this the same servo as the e-revo, which I thought it was, I have to say it's not. This is the 2075X, which is the metal geared version of the servo. However, this isn't stripped any teeth or anything like that. The thing is just completely dead, and the replacement is about $60 if you buy the Traxxas one on Amazon, if yours is out of warranty. However, mine is just under 18 bucks, so link to it below the video. Okay, now first things first on this, you obviously can't get access to the servo horn without removing the servo. You can't get easy access to the 4 screws on the servo holder. However, you can get easy access to these 2 screws, top and bottom. So remove those and pull the servo away. Okay, take care when removing the 2 servo screws, as they are different from the 8 screws holding the cover on. That will then enable us to simply, he says, pull the servo out the way. With those 2 screws undone, you can now turn the servo on its side, remove it for the 4 screws and turn it to the servo holder, which will enable you also to get access to remove the servo horn. In actual fact, your next task is to undo the screw holding the servo horn on there. Now, whatever you do, do not simply take this off and fit your new servo onto it without the car being powered up. Why is that, Richie? Well, if you fit the new servo on there and say it's got a position of 3 o'clock on there when it's stationary, but when you power it up, it powers up to like midday on there, it's immediately going to be turning the wheels and the steering on there. So you want to put the servo in place, turn the power onto it and see where its at rest position is before putting the servo horn back on. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please ask away and I'll explain a bit more in the comment section below. Okay, so there we have our servo ready for removing the servo tray. Undo these 4 screws, simple as that. Okay, with those screws undone, the servo tray can simply be placed to the side. Now carefully back all your screws to one side and flip the car back over. Right, one tip to you when doing something like this as well is tidy up as you go along. Don't work with all this dust and crud and crap and stuff on there. Get the car nice and clean before you attempt this job. Okay, now we're ready to turn the car back over. Where's that, Richie? The reason for that is to get access to the receiver box to undo the servo. We now need to remove these 2 screws, and there's also a tiny little plate on the front here, which is the waterproofing seal. You need to remove those 2 screws as well. Okay, first of all, removing those 2 screws at the back for the waterproofing plate. Okay, with the 2 receiver box screws, one undone, one here, one at the back there, which you can't see, and I've no hope of showing that on camera. Remove the box, paying careful attention. Do not lose this watertight blue seal. You've now got full access to the receiver. We can see the servo cable coming up from below into here. So we need to carefully follow that cable through as it is twisted round in here, and that is going into, says Richie to be careful, that's going into the number 1 slot. Pay careful attention to the colouring of the wiring on the servo. The white wire goes to the left as you're looking at the front, as you're looking at the car from the front onwards. The black wire goes to the right hand side of the receiver as you're looking at the car from the front onwards. With a wiggle and jiggle, that wire will come out of there. Turning the car over now. The servo wire should simply pull through, and you're going to have to lean round. Oh, there we are. And we get the servo wire out nice and easy. So time for a new servo to go in. Well, that's the old servo removed, so time for the new one to go in. And if you are liking this video already, you have found it useful, then please do consider subscribing, and by all means give it a thumbs up and share on social media. Anyway, I'm in the new servo. Okay, well, I've got my new servo ready to go in now, so simply going to put these 4 screws back in to fit it to the servo tray. Okay, got my servo ready to go back in. Now the next thing I'm going to do, thread the servo wire back through here, and I'm then going to power the servo up in order that it's sitting at its rest position. So I want to make sure I've got the steering trim set on dead center, power the servo up, then and only then attach the servo horn to the servo, with my wheels being dead straight, of course. Okay, well, this is not product placement. It's just very convenient to rest the batteries on the arm rather than in the tray, because I'm only just going to power it up, see that the servo's sitting dead center, and turn it back off again. As I mentioned on it, make sure my steering trim is set to center, and pulling the cable up through the other side for the servo, just got to slot it under here and then back into channel 1. Okay, that's my new servo wired in. Before I go and put all the cover back on everything, I'm going to power it up, check the servo is sitting at its rest, its dead center position, before putting all this cover back on. Okay, turn the power on, so just check the servo's working fine. Looks up to be absolutely fine, just making sure that's nice and dead center on my trim, and time to screw the thing back in. Okay, well, got my power onto my servo, make sure the trim is set on there, just check everything's working fine on there, so time to screw that thing back together. Okay, just pushing the servo horn on there, keeping it at 90 degrees to the servo. I've got my wheels dead center, so fingers crossed we should be good to go. Okay, one of the last jobs on this side of the car, simply fit the 2 screws back on in here and take the slack out of the servo cable from the other side. Okay, well that's the underside pretty much done there. Just got the bottom cover to put back on, but I'm not going to bore you with all the details on that. Okay, I'm only testing job on the thing so far. Putting these 2 screws in for the waterproofing cover, surprisingly difficult to do, as they just didn't seem to want to bite home. Last little job to do, put the receiver cover on, ensure this little box, for want of another word, last little job to do, put the receiver cover back on, ensure this end is hovering over the easy sat button on it in case you ever need to repair the receiver with your transmitter. So that's me done for the day. So if you like this video, then please do like, share, and by all means consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the circle image to subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, then don't forget to hit that little notifications bell next to it.